Hello Linux fans, Rob here and welcome to Linux Quest. Well, sometimes things just line up, like my recent install of Manjaro 1902 with Plasma 518. And at install, you've got the option to set up SoftMaker's FreeOffice, which is what we're going to take a look at coming right up. SoftMaker is no stranger to the software world. They've been in business since 1987 with their featured SoftMaker Office suite. And they have two versions, a free-to-use version, which is what we're going to look at today, called FreeOffice for Linux, as well as a commercial version, which I've actually purchased while on sale, which allows for 5 licenses or use for 5 different computers. And it's a real value as far as their commercial side is concerned. But today we're going to focus on FreeOffice. And it just so happens, if you're a Manjaro fan, you have the option of installing FreeOffice at install, which is what I did with this new setup. So we'll look at the 3 components that make up FreeOffice, which is Textmaker, Presentations, and Planmaker. So before getting into the software, I want to bring to your attention that FreeOffice is updated with frequent service packs. We have one as recent as 3.23, where we have a revision of bug fixes, 2.21 with bug fixes and features added, all the way through 2019. And this is important to see when you're picking out an Office suite that you're going to have to interact with, say, Microsoft Office documents, for example. You want these things to be updated so that if you pull in a very recent Microsoft changed Word document, for example, you want it to be able to work with FreeOffice. And with these revisions and updates being frequent, my bet is that they will. So this is good to see. Let's jump over first to Textmaker. You'll notice that it launches quickly, and immediately you'll see the familiar ribbon interface here with tabs up top to quickly navigate from place to place. Many of you watching this, I'm sure, have used Microsoft Office, or maybe you're forced into working with Microsoft Office. And for those of you that do, this is going to be very familiar to you. This is muscle memory, if you will, in finding your way around. It's going to make it very easy for you to navigate and figure out what's what. So I applaud the UI design decision here to keep this familiar for the majority of us. The other thing that I appreciate is a good list of options. So we'll jump right over here to Tools and Options, so you can find that there in the little drop-down menu. And from here you can change your view, such as table guidelines, frame guidelines, guides, page borders, horizontal and vertical rulers, things like that. These are typical options that you expect to find within a text editor. We'll move over to General. And here you can change things like the number of undo steps, extended support for Asian fonts, and I think that SoftMaker has focused in quite a bit on different language support. So for many of you watching this around the world, that's a key feature that needs to be in place in a piece of software that you're working with. Under Edit, you've got auto correction options such as capitalize the first letter of the sentence, correct the first 2 uppercase letters, so on and so forth. Selecting and pasting. Select whole words when selecting, or add or remove spaces when pasting. Under Appearance, you can change the user interface size, and they've got normal, large, and very large. We're set up here with normal. We'll go to large just so that you can see kind of what that difference is. And we'll go ahead and restart now. And you see here, this is much larger than we need, so we are not going to keep that, and we'll let it restart back to the normal size. Now, there is an option on here for touch mode, and that's going to increase the size of everything. That makes it easier to interact if you have a touch screen or a tablet that this is loaded on. And yes, there is an Android tablet version available. Now, we'll go back over here to the tools and to the options. And then at Appearance, you can set up for document scaling, set your DPI, choose your dialogue language. So we have everything from Dutch all the way down to Korean and Indonesia, French. You can set up your measurement, US or metric. Smooth edges of screen fonts. Default here we have off, grayscale, and then subpixel. I'm going to change over to subpixel and we'll see what that looks like. And you also have a default workspace where you can change the colors up there. It's very full featured. Now if we move over to language, the default is set to English. You do have Chinese, Dutch, Finnish, French, German, of course, SoftMaker is located in Germany. Greek, Hindi, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Korean, keep going, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Swedish, Thai, Turkish, Ukrainian, and Vietnamese. And you also have the option of installing Hunspell dictionaries for spell check. We go over to Files. You've got a template folder that you can set up, the default format that you would like to save the document in, and we have everything from the Textmaker format all the way down to, yes, the Open Document format, or ODT. And of course, Microsoft Word all the way up through 2019, which is DocX. Under the System tab, you can set up memory consumption for your photos, smooth edges of photos, use the OpenGL engine, show hidden files and folders, check for updates and how often you want to check for those updates, and so on and so forth. And then under Fonts, if there are a set of fonts, and I really appreciate this, if there are a set of fonts that you use the most when you're writing out your Word document, you can go in and choose to show or not show the full category of fonts listed here, of which there are many. And then from there, I'll just go through your various tabs, and we can't spend a huge amount of time on everything, but I do want to point out kind of some key things as we go through. And if you have questions, feel free to ask away in the video comment section. So the first tab, we have Home, which is going to be familiar to most of us, where you can choose your fonts. And here we have everything from Microsoft fonts, which is Arial, on down to Tahoma. And then you see here some of the free and open fonts on down to source code, symbols, Ubuntu fonts are in place as well. And I believe the way the fonts work, if you install system fonts, they will populate here within FreeOffice. So you've got font size, your usuals, bold, italic, underline, shadows, things like that. Font color, highlighting in place. Then your paragraph section here. And again, this is very full featured. Your styles, searching in a document. So if you pulled up a document and want to find specific words. You also have a familiar grouping here on the right hand side where you could go into paragraph styles or character styles. Have a zoom bar down here to zoom in on the document quick and easy. And then an area here showing you the sections, chapters, so on and so forth. Under Insert, it's full featured again. You could do a page break, a table, or a photo. I want to go right into photo because that's an area that could be hit or miss. Here you have a preview window. That's key. There have been software in the past where I look at if you have an insert for photo, you better make sure that you have a preview window in place. Otherwise, if you've got 150, 200 different photos here and they're not all named correctly, how are you going to know what it is exactly that you're getting ready to insert? It just causes a few extra steps. So please, developers, if you're listening, anytime you have insert for a photo, make sure there's a preview window like we have here. So we'll go ahead and insert this and just quickly and easily drag that over. Now, one of the things I appreciate here is how easy, we'll go ahead and make this smaller, is how easy it is to manipulate in the document. This is almost one of those areas that can be hit and miss, especially if you have text involved, is the limiting of where you can drag photos within a text editor. Sometimes it just doesn't work out that well in some text editors. You do have additional options. You could convert to embedded object, rotate or flip, change the order. Maybe you've got two photos in place, and then you can go right into picture properties, which is going to give you all the information you need: format, filling, line, shadow, 3D, effects, properties, auto shapes, and then right over here to picture with different options for colorizing the photo, adding different filters. From there, we'll go back over to Insert. You also have auto shapes, and you've got, again, a full featured list of auto shapes here, everything you would expect. Lines as well, and text art, which is really done well. I keep stressing this, but this is such a full featured Office suite. I have yet to find anything in it personally that makes me say, wow, how could they be missing this? So far, I'm more on the flip side of, wow, this has everything that I need in a text editor. Next up, we'll go to Layout, and this is going to give you page margins, orientation, page size. Real quickly, you can jump right over to, let's see here, I don't know, let's go to Ledger. You'll see that change there. Orientation, you can switch from portrait to landscape quickly as well. We'll go back over here to page size, and we'll go back to letter, and we'll keep it there. Oh, this inserted SoftMaker, so we'll drag that over here. Then from page size, you can go into chapter, columns, line numbers, tabs, drop caps, hyphenation, and then grid lines. And here, if we had something selected, you'll see wrapping mode, bring to front, send to back, rotate, duplicate, and convert. Under references, you're going to see shade fields, field names. If we want to do anything with footnotes, you could add that there. Under mailing, you can set up a database, use an existing database or create a new database, and then import that information into your document for mass mailings. Maybe you've got a uniform letter that you're wanting to send out to a couple hundred people. You've got a database structure in place to set that all up and make it quick and easy. Under review, spell check, and this is a big one, especially for me. I'm terrible at spelling. I've gotten better over the years, but I'm still terrible at spelling, so spell check is important. And from here, we can go right into the settings of spell check. You can choose the color for that, for your background. And as we talked about earlier, you can add the unspelled dictionaries for your particular language in spelling. From here, we can also track changes, accept or reject, go to previous and next. Within those changes, you have a comments pane here as well. Didn't want to skip that, so you insert your comment here, and then we could select whatever text we had and make our comment. And we don't have, let's see if it's going to apply there. Nope. So let's type something in, and now we can do our insert. Next up, we'll go to view, and then from here you've got standard, continuous or master page, form mode, shade form objects, field names, grids, rulers. Let's go ahead and turn those off and on so you can kind of see what that looks like. Zoom size, you can also do that here at the lower right. Fit your margins, go to full page, 2 pages, turn the sidebars off or on, and then close all windows from here. There's a lot more going on here than meets the eye. When you get into tables and you get into some of the options of the different things. For example, table. So we'll put a table in here. Once that's in place, actually I did not mean to put table in comments. So we'll use the undo button there, and this is asking for a comment. And we've got our comment, and now we'll go down here and we'll insert a table, for example, so that you can see what that looks like. Once you've got your table inserted, then you can go over to the table properties, and you'll have various options there from table to row to cell. So we'll go into table. You can turn tables on or off, make them printable, change the layout, indent, border, and shading. Depending on where you are on the document, right click may be quicker, or it may be easier to go up here and get your drop down for all of those options. It's fast, it's very full featured, it's very familiar in its layout, and one of the things that it's great at is working with, again, those either love them or hate them Microsoft Office documents. And so I'm going to point out one example here. So we're going to go ahead and open up a document, but I'm using this as an example. This was a Word document that looks exactly as we see it here in Microsoft Word, with the exception of one thing, but it's easy to correct. And that one thing is that when I open up this document in FreeOffice, there is one additional blank page. Now I suspect that's by the spacing or something within these other 3 or 4 pages here. But everything else, the photo placement, the bullets, everything else looks exactly like the Word document. My wife is using Microsoft Office, so I'll pull it up in there just to confirm. I hit backspace, and now I've got a document exactly like the Microsoft Word document. Now, in contrast to that, and pay attention here to the bullet points, I'm going to open up this same document. We'll go ahead and minimize these, and I'm going to open the same document up in LibreOffice. So we'll go to LibreOffice Writer. This is version 6.4. You'll notice one thing is that it takes longer to launch. And you'll notice here the spacing is off, the photo's closer to this line, but more importantly, it's put the image above the bullet points, and the bullet points aren't what you found originally. Instead, there's an additional image in place of the standard bullet points. So the formatting's not as good. The images, while they're close to being where they should, it just doesn't keep its formatting. And for me, that's just one of the biggest drawbacks of using LibreOffice. As much as I applaud their efforts, as much as I applaud what they're doing, and do follow the development and have supported them financially, they're just not able to keep or maintain that Microsoft Office formatting. And I'm not sure that they ever will. They're moving in a different direction. Their focus is on ability and features within the open document format. So let's go back now to Textmaker, and I do want to point out that you are able to save as. Let's go over here to File, Save. You could go here as well. So you could save as, and you're going to have several options here in format. You've got the SoftMaker format, which is TMDX, template, all of the Microsoft Word formats, everything from 95 up to DocX 2019, and or the open document format. I know for many of you watching, if it's not able to save in ODT, you're not interested. So that ability is there. And next up, we'll move over to presentations. So you think of this as PowerPoint. And again, the interface is laid out with the ribbon interface, if you will, with tabs. And it's as full featured on the presentation side as Textmaker is, with all of the options and features you would expect. Under Insert, you've got Photos, Text Frames, Auto Shapes. Under Design, you can change your page size, your background, your design and layout. So we'll take a look there. There are some built-in slide designs that you could start with, or you could start blank. And importantly, in a PowerPoint style application, you want transitions, you want sounds, and to be able to set up all these cool effects within your PowerPoint to keep things interesting. So these two tabs here, Transition and Animation, are the two you're going to work in for setting those things up. You've got a great list of transitions, PowerPoint compatible transitions. So if you know that this is going to go to someone who uses Microsoft Office exclusively, you can stay within these transitions. However, there are some really cool SoftMaker transitions. So if you're not sharing this with anyone, you've got several more transitions to basically experiment with. So if we added a title here, and we wanted to experiment with some additional transitions, let's say we'll go to triangles just to get an idea of what that looks like. Now just know that, again, you have to stay within the PowerPoint grouping if this is going to someone using a Microsoft PowerPoint program. But again, here plenty to mess around with and experiment with. Some really high-end transitions. The same with animations. So if we were going to go to animations here, you've got various animations from appear to emphasize to disappear. And if we select some things here, go into spin, for example, you can start your preview just like you would with any other presentation software. Set up your slideshow with the timings. So like you expect, you've got presented by speaker, full screen, browse by individual in a window, or set up for a kiosk, which would be full screen. You can set it up to loop or suppress the animations. Set up a pen color, use timings if present, or set it up for manual. I really use this more than I use Textmaker. I just find when I'm creating video covers and slides and things like that, it's just super easy to work with text and images. I love using this to create my video slides. And next up on our list is Planmaker. Now I'll be the first to admit I am not an Excel guru. So there are many things here that I'm sure would be important to someone watching this who is an Excel guru that I just don't know about. I use Excel on a limited basis and I do basic things within Excel. I'm not someone who's into setting up macros and different things like that. So I'm just not going to be able to speak intelligently about all of the additional features that I'm sure someone watching this who's really into Excel is going to want to know about. But we are going to go through the various tabs, and maybe you'll see something that stands out feature-wise that's important to you. So under Home, you're going to have your usuals, such as your font settings and placement and alignment within the cells, merging of cells. We can set up here if you are entering numbers by default or currency, if you're using this for accounting, percentages, scientific, fraction, things like that, shading of the cells and border settings, all of the usuals you expect to see there, your sorting and searching. Under Insert, you can insert photos, text frames, chart frames with a nice selection of charts, auto shapes, and text art here as well. You also have hyperlinking, comments, and header and footer setup. You can set up various symbols, and we'll go over here. You've got Latin all the way down to Arabic, various characters, pivot tables. Don't want to skip over that in case that's super important to someone. And then under Layout, you've got page orientation. You can set up your print range, and that's a biggie within Excel. Well, I say Excel. I got to go back and correct myself here. That's a biggie under Planmaker. Cell size. And then if we had things highlighted, we could select Bring to Front, Send to Back, and Alignment. Then we have Formula, and this is the area where things become important if you're a heavy Excel user. You've got all your different functions. Everything here from date and time, mathematics, financial mathematics, strings, database functions, statistics, information, logic, technical, miscellaneous, and named ranges. Let's go to logic here. And, false, not, or, and true. Date and time, all the usuals you will expect to see there. Under financial mathematics, hopefully you can see this in the video as I scroll through. Again, don't have time to go through everything. So we'll go from there, from formula to auto sum features, sum, count, product, average, max, min. Haven't used anything here. So now here's our big drop down for everything under functions, all categorized. So this hopefully allows you to see things a little easier. Under logic, strings, date and time, statistics, mathematics. Let's scroll down through that. And additional functions. So you have the database functions, additional information functions, technical functions, and other functions. You can edit the names, create names, and you have an update data here. Let's move over to data. Here we can sort the data, set up any external references, set up pivot tables. Under review, we've got spell check and sheet protection, as well as cell protection. And then under view, you're going to set up for your zooming, your different zero values. You can freeze cells or fit two selections here. You can choose to show formulas or not show formulas. And I'm sure there's a slew of other options that we can set up here within all of the Planmaker settings. Now let's move over to File. If we go to Save As, let's see what our options here under saving in different formats. So we have the Planmaker document formats. Then we have Excel all the way up through 2019, which is Excel SX. And let's scroll on down and see what we have in the open world. We've got CSV, which is, globally used. We have DBase as well, rich text, and Planmaker's different document types, Textmaker's different document types, and then all of the different Excel formats. And I guess if there was one really open format, CSV would probably be the closest there, as a universal format, should I say. As I've gone through my journey of discovering which office suite that I prefer to use day in, day out for real world work, and each of these software suites will have options and features that you gravitate to over time, and you'll have certain features that just work for you and you can stick with that. And so I'm going to round things out in saying we've got some fantastic choices within Office software. And for me, SoftMaker Office is one phenomenal choice in Office software. For me, this fits the bill in so many areas that it has become my go-to. So much so that I purchased the full retail version. Although it was discounted, it was one of their flash sales, so keep your eye out for that. And I'll have links to SoftMaker, both the FreeOffice as well as their commercial version. So if you want to check those out, just click in and have a look around. They also offer some other software for editing PDFs and things like that. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're shopping around, looking around for an alternative to LibreOffice, definitely give FreeOffice a look. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for watching.